What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Monster Bass channel. Today we're talking about tackle organization. Now, I'm from this state, the Mitten State, aka America's High Five. We're at the point in the year where you can go fishing and you might catch a fish, but it's very difficult to do so. So instead of doing that, what we typically do at this time of the year is we restock, we reorganize, and we get things set up to be more efficient in plans for next season. So that's where I'm at. I actually did a full overhaul. It took me a long time. Cleaned out my entire fishing area, cleaned out all this stuff. I ended up filling quite a few bins for giveaways that we do on our channel. So if you haven't seen my videos before, again, I'm Jeff with Burley Fishing, and we do a lot of giveaways. We do a live over on our channel. So if you'd be so kind, consider jumping on over to Burley Fishing on YouTube, giving us a subscribe, as well as giving a Monster Bass a subscribe, because this channel is full of great creators who know their stuff and are here to help you catch your personal best. So consider subscribing to the Monster Bass channel. So here's what we're gonna do today. I wanna walk you guys through my tackle organization system. It's been improving every single season that I've fished. It gets better and better every year, and I get more and more excited about it, which sounds nerdy, but that's okay, because I'm definitely a nerd when it comes to this stuff. So we're talking tackle boxes I prefer at the moment, how I organize it, how I transport it, and what I have set up in the kayaks. All I really want to do is just give you a walkthrough of what I do. You guys keep in mind that obviously it's your own opinion. You spend the amount of money that you want to spend, you get what you want to get. These are things that work for me. They might not work for you, and that's okay. You choose your own adventure. That's the beauty of this whole thing that we call fishing, and the beauty of this community with Monster Bass. So without further ado, let's get into it. Again, we're talking bank fishing and kayak angling. I do not own a boat. However, you could absolutely use most of this stuff in a boat as well. So let's go. So the first thing I want to talk about is how you transport all the stuff you get. So let's say you rack up a whole bunch of tackle because you're subscribed to Monster Bass, and you should be if you're not, or you go buy it yourself. How do you get it places? Well, you need a bag. Now, I recommend a few different options for this. I'll show you the lightest version first, and then we'll go progressively to the heavier, carry more stuff type versions. So number one, what you want to do is you want to get a very simplistic approach, something that you could take to the bank for an hour sesh. Let's say you got a lunch break and you want to just head out with a few pieces of tackle, try to catch some fish, have a good time. For that, I'd recommend something simple like the Plano Weekender series. So the Weekender series is designed to hold just a couple of tackle boxes, in this case, 2 to 3 3700 size boxes, but they also come in a 3600, so you can get a smaller version of this if you got the 3600 size boxes. And with that, I'm mainly referring to the size differentiation between a 3700 massive box and a 3600 slightly smaller, as you can see. So not holding as many baits, but also not taking up as much room or weighing as much. And then comparing both of those to a 3500 size box, which would be this Busby, for example, right here. Much smaller overall, holds hardly any tackle, but is great for other situations. In my case, ice fishing or when I'm wading the river. So I find these bags to be extremely convenient for that situation. In the front, you got room for tools, extra bags of plastics, etc. It snaps shut, so you don't have to worry about your tackle falling out. And on the inside, big open compartment for all the other stuff you need, plus side pockets, all of that. So it's pretty neat. Then you step up to your backpacks. Here's my opinion. I really like the Lose mock bags. These things are freaking awesome. This holds an absolute crap ton of tackle and has all sorts of pockets, more pockets than you even know what to do with. I promise you're not going to fill them. But if you want to port around a whole bunch of really big boxes, to me, this or another bag that Paul has actually reviewed on our channel. I've done a review of this on the channel as well, so if you want to see the full review, you can go look at it there. Paul also reviewed the Ego bag, which was also for actually 3700 size boxes. Of course, you could throw a bunch of 3600s in this as well. It's just really, it's taller, it's a vertical pack, meaning you stack it up vertically in here. Oh, look, a Monster Bass box in there. Neat. So now that it's empty, you can see inside, look, giant cavernous space. And then inside of that, you can actually stack these boxes up like so. So you can rack them up this way. This thing holds at least 5. I have filled this thing to the brim. Yes, it's heavy. It's kind of a fun little like workout session at that point. You just drag your giant thing of tackle down to the bank. If I'm gonna fish for like 5-6 hours, or if I'm going on a trip with buddies, or we're going on a road trip, whatever, this is one of those bags that I consider bringing, especially if I'm going to a place where I don't have a lot of space for, say, the giant duffel bag. They do sell a ton of different backpacks. 99% of them are designed for 3600 size boxes or smaller. So if you're looking for a 3700 size, that's my preference, then you got to go with one of these, right? The Mach or the Ego or something like that, the larger like Samurai tackles, whatever. Plano also has a ton. Typically, if you're getting the bigger bag, it's going to be above $100. So just something to keep in mind. Now, for just standard storage, as well as like bigger trips, if I'm going with Monster Bass to like the St. Lawrence, which we did last year, then I want to take a lot more stuff. If it's going to be a multi-day trip, I'm taking this bag. So you can get these from Bass Pro. This is the Magnum XL, I believe, series. It holds like 11 to 12 boxes, as you can see them vertically stacked here. Plus there's actually room at the front for even more. So right now in here, I have 15 boxes. 16 boxes. So it'll hold every piece of tackle you own. It's got extremely heavy duty shoulder straps, so I can drag this thing around. I love having this thing because it allows me to just have a place to have all of my go-to tackle. Now, mind you, I don't take all of this to the bank. I don't take all of this into my kayak. I take a portion of these boxes. So that's the big bag. It also holds tons and tons of other stuff. I've got like a whole setup here for trebles and split rings. I'd highly recommend doing something like this. So this is a cheap little Plano two-sider box, right? So it's double-sided. On one side, I've got like all my trebles. I've numbered their sizes as well, so I know what I need. And on the other side, I've actually got like split rings and snaps, also numbered, so I can get access to that. And for my kayak anglers, I'd highly recommend taking a 36 or 3700 size box. Oh look, this one's from Monster Bass, weird. And then fill it with your tools. This is watertight. I did throw a silica gel packet in there just so that I could keep everything dry. These do get smelly and your tools will rust if you don't take care of it. While we're on the accessory uses of these boxes, check this out. So these just dropped from Busby Fishing. You're gonna see a lot of Busby boxes today because that's mostly what I use, that or Plano Edges. These are called the Quick Cubes. This is the large edition. So this is a weather-proof box. It's gonna keep my stuff safe. It's not submersible, so don't go like chucking this into the water, but this is what I carry all the camera stuff in here. So I got like my YOLO Tech batteries in there, got my chesty, the GoPro's in there somewhere, all sorts of different media mods and all that stuff. It's all here. And then this will fit into my kayak crate. It can go in the front cargo section. It can go a lot of different places that tackle boxes can go, which makes it highly convenient. Okay, so let's jump into plastics and plastic storage. I want to show you one that is specific for bank anglers and one that's specific for kayak anglers and really more specifically for sit on top kayaks. So if you have a seat in your kayak that has a raised surface and some space below, you can use this crate that I'm going to show you right now. I would definitely say is the more premium route. So this is a crate by a company called Sidio, S-I-D-I-O. You guys can look them up. They make all sorts of stuff. This isn't even the purpose for its existence. I just made it work for this. They're not cheap. They're like 50 bucks for the base model, and they do have heavy duty lids that you can gain access to. You can easily do all of this with like a $5 to $10 space saver tote that you can get at your local grocery store or hardware store. So I'd highly recommend starting with that. That's what I did. So this is the Sidio crate. It has a water permeable base so water can come out of there. Your plastics won't. That's nice. So it's drainage. You've got a hard top which has these security latches on it. So this is not going anywhere. I'm never gonna lose my plastics and I feel very confident doing that. And then because of its size, it actually slides perfectly under my kayak seat. If you guys have seen any of our kayak fishing videos, you've seen me with it. Very convenient. I just pull it out from underneath me, open up the top, and then I can grab any of these tons and tons of plastics. So I have this all organized. One side is finesse, Ned rigs, drop shots, you name it. Middle, I've got my flukes, just because of the time of the season, that's what was there. Normally it's worms in the summer. And then on this other side, I've got creatures. That could be anything from like Carolina rigs, larger stuff, all the way down to little baby craws, like, I don't know, the collaboration that we did with Missile Baits on the Baby D-Bomb, Burley's Candy. I might have a few of those in there. So that's a crate. If you're going kayak fishing, going on bigger trips, and you want to have, you know, your pick of the plastics, that's a good route to go. For the space saver in you, or the bank anglers, just get these bags. They're super cheap and they don't take up a lot of space. They're also fairly durable, so you can beat the tar out of them. Because they're cheap, if you break them, you just get more. but having like 5 or 6 of these on hand, I love doing that because I can make one for swim baits, one for creatures, one for tubes and flukes and finesse stuff, one for ultralight fishing. Organize it however you want. So I go to the water and I can have a good time. So that's it for plastics. Let's go to the hard baits. If you guys like swim baits, glide baits, and big baits, I'd highly recommend picking up a lure wrap. You can get these in all sorts of different sizes, from holding just 1 bait to 4 baits to 8 baits, or in this case, about 16 baits. And I'm gonna show you right now how many are actually in here. This is a roll-up bag. This is from I Surrender. Definitely a company I recommend. It's a good like starting point, like beginner level lure wrap for your swim baits. Got a little Velcro latch on the back. Pop that off, unroll it, and then open her up. Look at that. There's a lot of baits in here. See? I told you. So there's all the swim baits. There's a heck ton of them. And then when you're done, you just fold her right back on up, and then you just take your little Velcro and you're good to go. As with anything, if you're rolling up baits that were previously wet, they're probably gonna rust in here, so I'd recommend just steal like one of your Plano Waterwick pouches or just the free silica gel pouches that you get in most of the things that you buy anyways, and just tuck it into a few of these sleeves. That's gonna protect your investment, especially with swim baits. You don't wanna mess around. Okay, let's get into the tackle bag. So, I already showed you guys, we have a bunch of 3700s in here. I use a lot of these Monster Bass boxes. They're inexpensive, they're easy to access. So if I pop this open, this would be like my soft swim baits. Then there's the tiny boxes. So I do like using the tiny boxes for certain specific purposes. This, for example, is the brand new Busby Colony 8 Thin. So it's a much thinner box. Inside, I have these removable compartments. So I can exchange these out, leave the baits in there, swap it out with something else. This is an ice fishing box. So all you're gonna really see in here is gonna be a little tiny baits like that for ice fishing, but it has other purposes too. And these Busbys have sort of like a rust prevention system in them, similar to what you've seen with like Flambeau and other companies. So I don't have to worry about these baits ever rusting. Never had it happen. I've been running these for about 2.5 years. You can do the exact same with the Plano Edge. So here's an example of that, super small. They got the little water wick piece in there to prevent it from rusting, and those work great as well. Again, super thin, doesn't take up a lot of room. This has your 1 latch instead of the Busby's 2 heavy duty latches. Important to note too, Busby also makes a Colony 15, which would be your 3600 size. These things are super heavy duty. They do come in a thin edition, so you do have like a slightly smaller profile option that you can go with. I'd highly recommend it. I like it better. This is the bulkier one. Still definitely gets the job done. Then we get to possibly one of my favorite things of all time, which is the Plano Edge terminal boxes. They have their own individualized compartments in here with a little see-through lid on it, so you can store everything, see everything without opening the box, and access it very quickly with your 1 latch system, which opens all the way just like that. So that's pretty awesome. This is the 3600 size one. This is my river box. So typically if I go out on the river, I take this, and I take some plastics. That's it. And I stow that in this bag. This is for wading the river. This is a submersible bag from Fish Pond. It's called the Thunderhead. If you can find it on sale, awesome. They might have upgraded versions now too. There's a little gear storage inside, but it's a slightly smaller opening. So your 3700 size boxes, they don't fit. They don't fit. So you got to go 3600. Even like this Busby one will fit in here. And you can only really fit like 2 of them in there. So that's why I take the terminal box. And then I'll also take the smaller Busby, which will have like some square bills and MEPs. So I can have inline spinners too. All right, next up, we've got our 3700 size series. So all of these are 3700 size. I do have the 3700 size terminal box. I've actually got 2 of them. One is sort of miscellaneous, but I like to be able to organize this as best I can. So this entire row is for Carolina rigging. These are the heavy duty weights. What makes these boxes so awesome is you've got like this little weight holder here, which has a silicone top and bottom. So it actually pins all your weights down so they don't rattle around, they don't bash into each other, they don't chip the paint. Amazing, love it. Then you got a bunch of open compartments, other stuff that you can do with this too. This houses stuff that I use some of the time, but not all of the time. And this is my all the time box. So this has like your offset worm hooks, EWGs, all that. I've got a whole row dedicated to wacky rigs and Nico rigs, and I've got a whole row dedicated to drop shots, and then I've got all my standard worm and flipping weights. I do have 2 specific boxes from Plano Edge that I really like that I want to share with you guys, and then the rest are Busbys that I want to get into as well. This is the jig box. They also have a spinnerbait box similar to this now. Highly recommend. If you guys have a ton of jigs, and you got chatterbaits, bladed jigs, all the way down to like your standard jigs to football jigs, I've got it all. So I've got finesse on the bottom, football jigs, swim jigs, chatterbaits, because because I love chatterbaits. This thing's great for holding onto those. No, it doesn't bend your weed guards. You just got to push the jig down far enough or tilt it and you'll be fine. And it has a water wick right there. So now I don't rust out all my chatterbaits, which is great. Because in the olden days, when I was just slapping them into these kind of boxes without any silica gel pack, because I wasn't smart, they were rusting. Last box that I like is for my bigger crankbaits. This is the Edge Flex. It's a little bit thicker. Still got your one latch system. And then you can customize your compartments. So that's kind of unique and fun and a good option if you got some of those bigger baits like long bills. I can create a giant compartment right here and use that. Okay, so last couple boxes that I use are all from Buzzbee. First one up, I always keep an entirely empty container for my frogs. So this is open, there's no compartments in there, and I just chunk all these frogs in here. And they do perfectly swell on their own. Never had an issue. The only thing you want to make sure of is that you don't combine any materials that don't like each other. So for example, I have a Chase Baits Wiggle Bomb, which is kind of like a Laztec material. It would melt all these frogs. So it doesn't go in here. But there you go. Easy way to store those frogs. Next one up is my small to mid-size swim baits and glide baits. So with this one, I've got all sorts of stuff in there. Look at that. And this is the deep box, right? So it's a lot thicker, which is nice because then I can put multiple small to mid-size swim baits per compartment. Next up's the jerkbait box. For the Midwest folks, anybody fishing colder water from time to time, and honestly everywhere, I mean, we just tend to use it more, I guess. Jerkbaits, very important. So this uses 100% of these long boxes. This is a Buzzbee Colony 28, meaning that it's a 3700 size, meaning that it has 28 little cubes. These are like Legos, right? So they pop out of here. I'll take one out right now. They pop out, they got those little notches on the bottom, and then you can see in here, there's little notches to match. So this is my Lego set, and you just pop them back in there. They go in very sturdily, like, is that a word? Sturdily? It is now. So they don't pop out, right? So that is very secure, and then this will hold even your longer 3 treble jerkbaits very easily. I've even got this 1 ouncer right there that fits in with several others in the same compartment. Also, don't know if you noticed this, but you can get these little pull tabs on them, which is nice. If you got this in a kayak crate, you can just go back, grab that loop, lift it out. That's awesome. And they can be color coded so you know which box you're grabbing. For example, the purple one is my swim baits. Frogs are orange, don't ask me why. Jerkbaits are blue, maybe hot, cold, frogs, hot water, orange, jerkbaits, cold water, blue. Yeah, sure. I like having a box set up like this. It's got these big open square sections throughout most of it. Look at this, I might even like go back and fill in some more, but you can take this 2x2 piece here and you can pack it full of as many square bills as you want. Then my last box is currently empty. Why? Because it's what I call my day box. This is the box that I fill with the baits that I want to use for the day. So if I know what I'm going to be fishing that day, I've got this set up as streamlined as humanly possible so it can hold just about anything. We've got 2 big square, the 2x2 boxes here for spinner baits. I've got most of these like 1x3 long boxes here. They'll hold my square bills, chatterbaits, jigs, all of that. And then I've got 2 1x4s, super long boxes on either side here. Top waters, walking baits, jerk baits. So I can like organize this for the day no matter what water I'm going to. And this will sit up front in the boat with me or wherever is most easily accessible to you, whether it's in your boat or at the bank. This is your go-to box. And then I usually have my go-to terminal box up front. So it would be like, these are really the 2 that I'm using. The rest of this is just like, ooh, okay, specific scenario, I wanna fish this. And then I go grab that. All right, so there we go. That's how I run stuff in my neck of the woods. How do you do it? Hit your opinions up below in the comments. Let us know how you store your tackle, store your plastics, and make things more efficient and convenient for yourself, whether you're hitting the bank, you're in a kayak, you're in a boat, or you're a co-angler. However you do it, how do you organize it? That's what I wanna know. You saw my stuff. If you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about some of the stuff that I'm using or see us use it on the water or put it to the test, hop on over to Burley Fishing, throw us a subscribe. We really appreciate you guys for considering that. And of course, be sure to subscribe to Monster Bass as well. There are a ton of awesome creators on here that are really going to help you catch your next PB. Thanks for watching, you guys. I've been Jeff with Burley Fishing, and we'll see you on the next video.